All right, we talked about how the surety is getting the short end of the stick a lot, but what are some defenses that the surety has? Well, first we've got creditor's fraud against the debtor. If the creditor defrauds the debtor and is aware of the fraud, the surety can use this as a defense against the creditor's claim. For example, if a creditor knowingly provides false information to the debtor to convince them to take a loan, the surety may claim that they should not be held responsible for the debt. Under duress, a lot of similarities with contract law, with agency law, with a lot of other types of business law, stuff like under duress for sure. If a contract or a business relationship is formed under duress, it's not valid. If the debtor enters into the obligation under duress, the surety may use this as a defense. For instance, if the debtor is forced into a loan agreement under the threat of physical harm, the surety can argue that the agreement should not be enforced against them. Illegality of the debtor's obligation. If the debtor's obligation is illegal, the surety can use this as a defense. Definitely makes sense there. For example, if a loan is granted for an illegal activity, such as drug trafficking, the surety can claim that they should not be held responsible for the debt. Discharge of the debtor's obligation. And this one makes sense as well. I mean, these are all making sense. But if the debtor's obligation is discharged, the surety is also released. The debtor no longer owes money. Why would the surety be on the hook? What would they be on the hook for? There's nothing there. For instance, if the debtor's debt is discharged in bankruptcy, the surety is no longer responsible for the obligation. But that makes sense also. We don't want, let's say, an auto dealership coming after you as the surety because the principal debtor had that loan discharged under bankruptcy. So knowing your rights and your defenses, debtor pays or tenders performance and creditor declines, that will release the surety. If the debtor offers to perform their obligation and the creditor refuses, the surety is released because the surety has said, I will cover if the debtor does not perform. So, for example, if the debtor offers to repay the loan and for whatever reason the creditor declines, which sounds weird, but hey, that happens, the surety is no longer responsible for the debt. Now, maybe they decline because they want to take them to bankruptcy or something else, but that's the situation we're looking at there. Surety's incapacity or bankruptcy. If the surety is incapacitated or bankrupt, they may be released from the suretyship. For instance, if the surety becomes mentally incapacitated or files for bankruptcy, they could be released from their obligations. We've also got lack of consideration. If the surety's promise is gratuitous, meaning made without consideration, meaning they agreed to become a surety without getting paid for it, they will only be bound if the promise is made before the creditor lends the money to the debtor. So, for example, if a friend agrees to act as a surety without receiving any benefit in return, but makes the promise after the debtor has already taken the loan, the surety may not be held responsible for the debt. Continuing on here, variation of the surety's risk. If the surety is acting gratuitously, meaning they're not getting paid for this, and there's a material change in the debtor's obligation or the surety's risk, meaning, let's say the debtor takes out a loan, they have the surety, and it's already for $10,000, but then let's say they change that with the bank, and now it's a $100,000 loan. That's a significant material change, and the surety, if they originally agreed to be on the hook for $10,000, I don't think it's fair to say that they should be on the hook for $100,000. The surety can be released from their obligation. For example, if the debtor's loan amount is significantly increased without the surety's consent, the surety can be released from their responsibility. Next up, extension of time. If the creditor extends the deadline for the debtor's performance, a gratuitous surety is discharged. Essentially, if you're a gratuitous surety and there are any changes, pretty much significant changes, you'll be out of there. However, if the creditor only delays collection without officially extending the deadline, the surety remains obligated. Now, for example, if the creditor gives the debtor an extra month to repay a loan, the surety will be released from their obligation. Next up, loss of security. If the creditor loses or releases the security, the surety is discharged for the value of the released or lost security. For instance, if the creditor loses a valuable asset that was provided as collateral, the surety's obligation is reduced by the value of that lost asset. Release of co-surety. If a co-surety is released from the obligation, the remaining surety is released to the extent of the amount that they could have recovered from the released co-surety. So, for example, let's say it's a $10,000 amount. If the two co-sureties are each responsible for 50% of the $10,000, one is released, the remaining surety's liability is reduced by 50%. And now they're only on the hook for $5,000. And then we've got no defense if the debtor becomes bankrupt or incapacitated. The surety cannot use the debtor's bankruptcy or incapacity as a defense against the creditor's claims, as their obligation as a surety remains. For example, if the debtor files for bankruptcy, the surety is still responsible for fulfilling their obligation to the creditor. All right, we got an example here. Parker co-signed Smith's loan from Trust Bank. Which of the following events would release Parker from the obligation to pay the loan? Got a few options here, and the answer we're going to go with is letter D, but let's read through. First off, letter A, why is that incorrect? Well, because nothing in the fact states that Parker signed only as a guarantor or a guarantor of collection. Trust has no duty to first seek payment from Smith, so Trust's failure to first seek payment from Smith does not result in Parker's discharge. Understanding again the difference between suretyship and guarantors. Next up, legal incompetence of the principal debtor does not discharge a cosigner of a loan. Or letter C, discharge of the principal debtor for bankruptcy does not discharge a cosigner of a loan. However, lastly, letter D, trust is paid in full by Smith's spouse. Now, assuming that this is a surety situation and that Parker's only obligation is as a surety, full payment of the underlying obligation will discharge the surety.
Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.